been playing Jesus for 500 years. Like literally.
Yeah.
Jesus doesn't look anything like Brad Pitt.
You can identify everything but the children of God. I need my people to wake up and understand that this is a propaganda.
The curse of the Pharaohs are a poor example of what wait for the plantation.
Beware false prophets who come dressed in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravening wolves.
You black man!
He that stealeth the man.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
I want to say shalom and blessings to all of my brothers and sisters, my kinsmen according to the flesh who are Israelites, to whom pertain the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of Elohim and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom as concerning the flesh our Mashiach came, who is overall Elohim blessed forever and ever. Hallelujah. I want to say shalom and blessings to everybody in the chat. Hope everybody had a blessed day. Hope you've been having a blessed week. I'm supposed to have some of the other brothers in with me tonight. So let me go ahead and do this real quick. Give me a second. I'm putting a link in the chat because I'm supposed to have some other brothers coming in tonight, but in the case they don't, I want to say shalom on behalf of those brothers Kadar. But tonight we're going to be dealing with Cornelius the Gentile. And notice the title has Gentile in quotes. And it's a reason for that. It's a reason why Gentile is written in quotes, and it's a reason why it's written again unquoted. We've been teaching that, or showing from our standpoint, that the Gentiles in the New Testament who the Most High sent Paul out to preach to, that these Gentiles are in fact members of the lost tribes, the lost 10 tribes. This is our position. There are many other people who have a different position. Some people believe that the Gentiles that the New Testament is referring to in terms of being fellow heirs with the chosen people is talking about Gentiles as we know it today. The sons of Japhet, or what we would call common white people. And I want to consider this tonight sort of an investigation. All right. This is really somewhat of a sensitive topic for me, dealing with the Gentiles, and I'm going to explain why. When we deal with Cornelius is oftentimes the example or the means that people go to try to prove that so-called Gentiles or white people can be saved. And there are a lot of details within the text that would lead people to believe that that's what he was. And in my view, the details that people use to lead them to believe that Cornelius was a Gentile, in my view, is based on somewhat of a misunderstanding. A lot of our history is misunderstood from past even to present. And so in dealing with this, I don't want to seem as though I'm insulting anybody's intelligence or trying to attack anybody's position. This is just my view on what I think dealing with Cornelius in particular. Was he a Gentile as we would think or as we would commonly believe? Or was he a Gentile from a standpoint of being one separated from Israel, being a flesh and blood Israelite, but separated from his people? We all know about the northern kingdom being separated and being no longer a people. I don't want to get deep into those things, but what I do want to get into is some details dealing with Acts chapter 10. And what I'm going to be doing tonight is sort of critiquing a portion of a video that I came across. And I want to do it this way because what this allowed me to do was to consider this thing from a different angle and a different perspective. You know, one of the good things about hearing other people out, especially when dealing with matters like this, is it gives you a chance to be open to see where and if you are in error. But then it broadens your range a little bit, because when you deal with other people, it sort of strengthens you and it stretches you out, like how they say iron sharpens iron. Or even better example, when you passionate about something, whether it's a sport or some kind of art, and you get with another person, and that person is good enough to challenge you or push you to another level. And that's how I look at it when I'm listening to other brothers, whether I agree or disagree, and more so in disagreement. Brothers that I may see a different perspective on, these are the videos that I pay attention to the most, to understand, like I said, where and if I'm in error, and if so, how did this brother come to this conclusion or this position? And so that's what we're going to be doing tonight. I came across a video, not even came across, there was a brother that I actually somewhat interacted with through one of his other videos, and he sent me this video as a reference to make the point that Cornelius was indeed a Gentile, meaning he was one who was not an Israelite. Let me put it like that, because there are a lot of Israelites who were born in other regions who were considered Gentiles, but I'm gonna deal with that in some of the details that we're going to bring out. But I didn't mean to be rude and not, greet the chat. I just kind of got excited there a little bit. So I'm gonna say shalom and blessings to Brother Darnell Blackshear. Excuse me. Hope you're doing well. Excuse me. Maria, shalom to you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a blessed day. Son of Jacob, Yaakov, I'm sorry, shalom to you. Hope all is well. Hope you had a blessed day. Brother Donovan Ben Judah, good to see you. Hope you had a blessed day. Hope all is well. Only by his grace. That is the truth. Hope you had a blessed day. Good to see you. Divine Seed, shalom to you, my bro. Hope all is well. Hope you had a blessed day. Sister Sheila, good to see you in the chat. Hope you had a blessed day. Shiloh, shalom fam. Hope all is well. Good to see you. Got my brother Smitty. What's going on, Smitty? Hope you're doing good, my bro. Good to see you. Brother Jason, Phillip, Macaulay, shalom to you. Hope you had a blessed day. Sister Marcella Smith, shalom to you. Hope all is well. Hope you had a blessed day. Got my love in the chat. Shibriya, shalom to you. Got Sister Katrina Brown. Shalom and blessings to you. Hope you had a blessed day. Sister Linda Ricks. Shalom, sis. Hope all is well. Hope you had a blessed week. Hope you're having a blessed day. Son of Yahuwah. Shalom to you. Hope all is well. Scott Crack. Hope I said that right. Shalom. Hope all is well. Got my brother from the Philippines in the chat. Ty C. Hope all is well, bro. Good to see you. Got my brother Yash. What's going on, brother Yash? Hope all is well. Good to see you. Hope you had a blessed day. I'll put the link in the chat. But before I get into anything, y'all know how we do. I want to first speak on the upcoming work dealing with supersessionism, replacement theology, the part 1, scheduled for the 27th. All right, it was scheduled for the 25th at first, but he pushed it back to the 27th at 1 p.m. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's a Sunday. Yeah, that'll be a good time to drop it. Sunday at 1 p.m., right when everybody getting out of church, getting that good word, stop at where I'm from. They had a restaurant, Sweet Georgia Brown's. Stop at Sweet Georgia Brown's and get you some good old pork chops and some greens and sweet potatoes, and then go on home and then watch this video right here. All right. Shalom, T Trust Yah. Shalom, sis. Good to see you. Got my brother Chadro. I ain't seen you in a while, bro. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Sister CC. Shalom and blessings. Good to see you. But yeah, the upcoming work, part 1, replacement theology, supersessionism. All right, Christianity's satanic conspiracy of replacement theology exposed. All right, part 1, Sunday, February 27th, 1 p.m. All right. Shalom and blessings to the brother Banya, brother Cleo, brother Kadar. Keep the brother in your prayer and keep him encouraged for the work. Got Sister Born Bold in the chat. Shalom, sis. Good to see you. Hope all is well. We're just about to chop it up on some Cornelius. Find out what we're dealing with that. Glory Yah. Shalom to you. Shalom. Hope all is well. Good to see you in the chat. Glad you could chime in. All right. So that's that. Also, Kingdom Conversations Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Central. That's 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget about Wake Up Jacob, Fridays afternoon. That's tomorrow coming up. Noon Central. That's 10 a.m. Pacific. And then that's 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern. And then after that, we got the prayer Friday night fellowship at 8:30 p.m. All right. Shalom and blessings, Sister S.R. I ain't seen you in a while. Good to see you in the chat. Need some more music. That's what we got going on, brothers and sisters. Got brother Kadar. What's going on, bro?
Shalom, shalom. Shalom to the chat. How y'all doing? Shalom, South Earth. Praise to the Most High, Yahweh, to the Messiah, Yahweh Shah.
Shalom. So, how you doing, man? What's on your mind today?
Man, I got so much on my mind. What's going on in Israel? It's sad when we have to correct our own brothers that have awakened and the stuff they teach. Oh my goodness. It's a lot. It's a lot, you know. I really, to be honest, I would really be sitting here saying, "Hey, we still trying to wake our people up," which we are, but we still dealing with people that's already awakened, but still want to come up with all kinds of crazy, crazy doctrine. And that's what it is, doctrine.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, a lot of what people are doing is giving their perspective. I always make it a point that I'm not a teacher like that. You know, what we do is we're doing what the Bible said that we're going to do in these times. His sons and his daughters going to prophesy. And so that's why everything that we do, or everything that, you know, I try to do personally, everything that we try to do on this channel is within the vein of prophecy. You know, everything that pertains to us prophetically, everything that pertains to our salvation, these are things that we try to stay within the line of. So this is really somewhat of a sensitive topic, because coming into this this work, I remember when Brother Bunya first started it, and you know, oftentimes before we do anything, we all kind of get together and, you know, kind of chop it up to get some ideas and pass ideas around, you know, see if anything is off base. And so one of the things Brother Bunya told me, because I was under the understanding that Cornelius was a Gentile, or I'm gonna just say what most people would say he is, or anyway, he was a white man. I was under that understanding, or that impression. And so Brother Banya, he asked me, he said, what would it take for me to be convinced? You know? And you know me, I just told him, man, look, if you could just show it to me, you know. My understanding is pretty level, you know. If it's something that needs to be broken down, I'm open to that, you know. So just show it to me. I could be wrong, and I can say that since then my position has changed, and I could still be wrong then. You know, I could still be wrong now, even though my position has changed. But this started out as somewhat of a sensitive topic, because like I said, I was under that belief or that understanding. What about you, bro?
Well, I was under the same belief that he was a Gentile, not because I was awakened at the time. I was in, you know, Christianity. So it wasn't like, it would, when everything, to be honest, every time I look at scriptures in Christianity, there was a Gentile. So, but you know, a lot of hope is to say this is how you tell you got the Holy Ghost, you know.
Yeah.
They used to use that. So I, you know, just thought it's like, you know, that every time you read the Bible or the scrolls, we can take and put ourselves in that, even though at the time we didn't know who we were, and we claim to be, you know, Gentiles, but we can take and put ourselves in that place. And that's type of, and so Cornelius, as a Christian, when I was a Christian, Cornelius, yeah, he was a Christian to me, and he just loved everybody.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So when I came into truth, I was like, wait a minute. And never said Cornelius a Gentile. He was in the Italian band, the army, so to speak, with the Air Force or whatever. He was a centurion, a soldier. And right now, 100 years from now, Colin Powell, Secretary of State, He was in the American Army. I'm gonna think he's a UMPN. That's the same thing. Same thing.
And you know, the thing about it, within that chapter, Peter does sort of refer to him as a Gentile, you know, when he said that upon the Gentiles also has the Most High given the Ruach or whatever. So that's not even really my contention. You know, a lot of people will tie that together. The thing is, like I said, when it comes to our history, we're sort of given a narrow path to look down. Like, for instance, we touched on this before with Genesis 10. When you deal with the Gentiles and who they are, most people will take you to that chapter. But we already dealt with information showing that even the Abraham's sons, all but Isaac, were considered Gentiles, and he had 8 sons. So he said they would be Gentiles and that they would be reckoned among the Gentiles. And so when you read Genesis 10, a lot of people think that that's saying that Japheth's seed are the Gentiles, and it's not telling you that. It's telling you that by these or by Japheth's sons were the isles of the Gentiles divided. And so because we're conditioned to look at that verse in that manner, we automatically think Gentiles, son of Japheth, white people. When I first came into the truth, that was somewhat of the understanding that we were, you know, sort of led into. And Cornelius was the main example of that, you know. And so I want to share a portion of a video, all right? And like I said, this is not to insult or promote any type of negative publicity. This is just to address a point. All right, like I said, backdrops are good for that purpose. And so you want to say something, Brother Kadar, before I get into this?
No, I really don't have much to say. I'm ready to look at this. I want everybody to look at this. And I want everybody to realize and do your own research on the meaning Gentiles. Look at Strong's G. Look at Hebrew. Gentiles, all it means is nation. Why would somebody even put that when you can just speak a certain nation or people come from?
Absolutely. So let's get some of this, brothers and sisters. I want to thank everybody once again for chiming in. This may be a subject that has been dealt with before, but, you know, we all come into certain understandings in set times, you know, or at different times. And so I just want to share with the family my understanding of why I believe Cornelius was indeed an Israelite, whether from the 10 tribe or whether being a Jew. All right. And I'm going to give my proof of that and use this as a backdrop. But check this out.
Grace and peace be unto you. This is your brother Jehuda Judah. And today I have decided to do a lesson on Cornelius. Was he an Israelite, okay, or was he a bloodline Gentile? Was he a bloodline Israelite or was he a bloodline Gentile? My position, according to the Bible, according to scripture, he was a bloodline Gentile. So I'm going to start at Acts chapter 10. Acts 10, verse 1. It says here, there was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius. And then it says here, a centurion of the band called the Italian band. Now, first of all, point number 1, when you go do the research, you will see that the Romans, they found it to be a conflict of interest to have a Jew serving in the military. So real quickly here, let me show you guys so you don't think I'm lying. It says here the Jews were also exempted from military service. See that? From military service and the provision of Roman troops. Contrary to what Josephus wants his readers to believe, the Jews did not have the status of religio. You see that? Religio licita, which says here permitted religion, as this status did not exist in the Roman Empire, nor were all Roman decrees concerning the Jews positive, you see, because it was a conflict of interest. So the Romans was very skeptical about having a lot of Jews in their army, especially when they controlled Judea, because they felt that, like I said, when you go do more research, they felt that many of these Jews would turn against them, okay, and side with their own brethren, the Israelites. Let's go to the next. It says the Jewish exemption. See, the Jewish exemption from military service and the way the Romans perceived the Jews. See, they perceived the Jews and Judaism in the late Roman Republic and the early empire. It reads here, exemption from military service in the second half of the 1st century BCE, but these exemptions never encompassed the entire Jewish population under Roman rule. Exemptions were given only to a certain communities, see, for a limited time. Okay, but you can continue to read concerning exemption, and when you continue to dive more into and more to the history of the Roman military, you will see that they did not have many Jews in the military, and the ones that they did have in the military, they was mostly servants. They had the lowest positions. They were not about to allow no damn Jew rise above their fellow brethren, white Romans, and be in higher positions over them. A conflict of interest to have any Israelite serve in the military, because they felt that a Israelite serving in the military could turn against them. Number one, go do the research. Number two, the Romans would have never allowed any Jew to rise to a position, a high level as a centurion, being over their fellow Roman brethren. Number two. Number three, when you do the research, those of other nations in the Roman military, they was at the lower positions. They was mainly as servants in the Roman military. That's number three. That's how you know also that Cornelius was not a Jew. Verse number 2.
Brother Kadar, you wanna address it? Anything that stood out to you before we continue on? Brother Kadar, are you there? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pick it up. I want to address the opening point. All right, his opening point of proving how Cornelius couldn't have been an Israelite was that the Romans did not allow Jews in their armies, or if they were in the armies, they were as servants. They didn't serve in high positions because it would be a conflict of interest. And so I want to address that first. Let me see here. Brother Kadar, he must be away for something. Let me see which one I want here first. Okay. Now, what I want to show you is that the portion of the article that he posted was actually a fragment of a full article, and I'm going to show you that full article. All right. One thing you saw mentioned in the article, it mentioned about exemptions. All right. Exemptions given to the Jews. And you saw another term called religio licita. All right. And what that pretty much was during the Roman times was a term in Roman law which allowed people to pretty much keep their religions and their native cultures while they were in Rome. All right, but we're gonna deal with that in a second. I want to read a portion of this article. All right, this is rather small, but what I'm gonna do, there is no way I'm gonna be able to enlarge this to where everybody can see it. Hold on. I'm gonna put this link in the chat for this article, and I'm gonna try to enlarge it as much as possible. So maybe you can see it, okay? I'm reading this section right here. Let me try to highlight it right here. In the highlighted blue section right there. It says, in the Greek cities in the east of the Roman Empire, tensions often rose between the Greek and Jewish populations. Writing around 90 CE, the Jewish author Josephus cited decrees by Julius Caesar, Mark Antony Augustus, and Claudius. All right. I'm going to highlight Claudius. It says, endowing Jewish communities with a number of rights. All right. Then you know that Josephus cited decrees by Julius Caesar, Mark Antony Augustus, and Claudius. It says endowing Jewish communities with a number of rights. So in other words, the Roman leadership endowed the Jews in Rome with certain rights. It says central privileges included the right to be exempt from polis, religious rituals, and the permission to follow their ancestral laws, customs, and religions. Jews were also exempt from military service and the provision of Roman troops. Contrary to what Josephus wants his readers to believe, the Jews did not have the status of religio licita, all right, permitted religions. So it's saying right here they didn't have, contrary to what Josephus is saying, because according to Josephus, they had this status. But he's saying contrary to that, the Jews did not have this status of religio licita, or permitted religion, as this status did not exist in the Roman Empire, nor were all Roman decrees concerning the Jews positive. Instead, the regulations were made as a response to individual requests to the emperor. The decrees were deployed by Josephus as instruments in an ongoing political struggle for status. So there was somewhat of a struggle with the Jews for status, but at the same time, I'm gonna go back to the top of this same article, and that happened after a certain period of time. But like I mentioned, there were Jews who lived in Rome. There were Jews who lived in all these different regions, even during the time of Mashiach and even prior to that. You got to remember that our people had been captive to 3 different kingdoms prior to the Roman Empire. And so you had Jews everywhere. But watch this. It says the history of the Jews in the Roman Empire traces the interaction of Jews and Romans during the period of the Roman Empire, 27 BCE to 476 CE. It says a Jewish diaspora had migrated to Rome and the territories of Roman Europe from the land of Israel, Antonia, Babylon, and Alexandria in response to economic hardship and incessant warfare over the land of Israel between the Ptolemaic and Seleucid empires from the 4th to the 1st centuries BCE. In Rome, Jewish communities thrived economically. Jews became a significant part of the Roman Empire's population in the 1st century CE, with some estimates as high as 7 million people. All right, I think that's all I want from that. Let me make sure. Yeah, that's all I want from that. Letting you know that Jews, there was a Jewish diaspora. It says this is exiles or the dispersion of Israelites or Jews out of their ancestral homeland and their subsequent settlement in other parts of the globe, according to this source. So you had Jews living in all of pretty much the known regions where the Romans ruled. All right. So think about it like this, and I'm going to get into another source to show you that not only did Jews live in these regions, and some of the Jews thrived in some of these regions, but there were many Jews in the Roman army on many different levels, from the ground level all the way up to high levels, you know, generals. And so this is what I want to do real quick. Brother Kadar, you still there, man? I think he probably eating something. All right, so
There you go. All right, yeah. I don't know if that's me because I'm using my hotspot, but I'm keep going out and in. So can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't hear a lot what you was reading, but I got an idea. But when you the brother that you had pulled up, he was trying to say that it was basically forbidden for Israel or a tribe of Yehuda to be in the Roman army. We know good and well that ain't true. Even to this day, they want us in their army. How they do the Ethiopians that's over there now.
Yeah.
So we know good and well that's not true. But this is one of his arguments that he tried to bring up to try to say this is why Cornelius is a Gentile and not an Israelite. But we know good and well that's an unseen argument, even though he tried to, like I was saying, talking to you earlier, my granddaddy, he was a cook in World War II. And so, yes, there's possibility they could have been servants, but they was in the Italian band. It's most definitely that is true.
What's going on, Brother Yash?
Shalom, shalom.
How you feeling, bro?
I'm great. You know, I was sitting back on the side, and I was gonna, you know, just kind of sit back because I didn't really do any kind of research into this yet. So until I really do some research, I have to lean on the side of him being a Gentile.
Yeah, I just got a call. My bad. Say that last part again, bro.
Search and see which type of Gentile he falls in, which fall on the part that he was the Gentile until I do some research and find out which category of Gentile was he under. Was he Israelite Gentile or was he Roman Gentile? That I do not know. And like I said, I didn't do the research on it enough to say either or. I didn't do any research on it actually. But when you was reading the article, it struck me because the guy used the term that Jews were exempt from the Roman army, and he used that, but he used that under the guise of them being banned. So I threw the definition of what was being exempt, which is they had permission to forego that process, or permission. They was given special permission not to be in that army if they didn't want to. That's all exempt means. If you don't want to be in this, you don't gotta. We exempt you. They were not banned. Like Brother Kadar said, you even to this day, they always want us in their army. And another thing, when he was talking about that, use that religion, whatever it was. I don't know what that word was, but basically he tried to say, like they didn't have, they were even banned from practicing their religion, which was true. I don't need any outside. We have enough sources. You got Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, and Romans.
Yeah.
To show you that. Now he was correct on one thing. There was always a fear, just like it is today, of our people uprising. And they had a legit fear because at that time, because the Messiah came on the scene, and they witnessed all the miracles that the Messiah had done, and they were afraid because the disciples even were saying to the Messiah, at this time, are you going to restore the kingdom? So there's always been a Gentile fear of the kingdom being restored back to our people. So only on that one aspect, I'll say, okay, you was right about that. He was right about that. But the rest, he was being disingenuous, let us say.
I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to go back to that article.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, you mentioned that religio licita.
Yeah, whatever that was. I tried to look it up. I couldn't even remember it.
All right, I'm gonna go. We're gonna take a look at that. Let's look at that.
Oh, I got it. Religio licita.
All right, it says, contrary to what Josephus wants his readers to believe, Jews did not have the status of religio licita or permitted religion, as this status did not exist in the Roman Empire, nor were all Roman decrees concerning the Jews positive. All right, so now what we have to ask ourselves is religio licita. All right, the Jews did not have this status. It says because it did not exist. So now let's click on that. And I want to go specifically to the point. Judaism as licita. All right. But when you read a lot of documents and it refers to the Jews or our ancestors, let me put it like that, practicing their customs in these other countries, they're always going to refer to it as Judaism. All right. However, in the breakdowns, it lets you know exactly what they were doing. So let's read this section right here. Judaism as licita, or permitted religion. All right. Religio licita has sometimes been taken as a formal recognition or charter originating with Julius Caesar and embodied by various pieces of Roman legislation pertaining to the Jews, conceiving of as a coherent policy. In fact, the various privileges and exemptions granted to the Jews were responses to specific complaints or requests made in the context of the traditional patronage network and had nothing to do with supposed religio licita status. So in other words, it's saying that all of the privileges and exemptions granted to the Jews had nothing to do with this status, but it had more to do with requests, informal complaints that our people was making to the kings so that they could do these things. And so the king granted it to them, but it had nothing to do with religio licita. Now watch this. To the extent that the Romans respected Judaism, it was because of the religion's great antiquity, ancestral tradition being regarded as a source of social and political stability, right? So in other words, our people keeping the laws and everything was a source of social and political stability. That's what the Most High's law is about. And that's why even when you look at the law today, they try to mimic that to a degree. They try to mimic the Most High's law and make us think that they're abiding by the law, when really they have all these other laws and statutes to cover for the fact that they're really using those things to control us. But the Romans saw that our people keeping their traditions was a source of social and political stability. So the question is, why did they even need exemptions in the first place? Why did they need exemptions? All right. Now let's go back. Once again, it said, I'm gonna pick it up right here. Central privileges included the right to be exempt from polis, religious rituals, and the permission to follow their ancestral laws, customs, and religion. Jews were also exempt from military service and from the provision of the Roman troops. So why were they exempt? Why did they need exemptions? Let's go find out. While I'm pulling this up, you brothers want to chime in, go ahead. Hey, my bad. Go ahead.
That was the same thing that was on my mind. What I was going to say, basically, that they had given our people a respect towards, our laws and our customs. So, and that's why they had Herod govern over us. They knew that we were a special people, or we knew that we was different than all the other nations and around us. So basically, when you read the scripture account, they basically gave us, I use basically too much, y'all forgive me. They gave us our thing, because they knew basically, I keep saying basically, that we wasn't having it. You see how, we were a people that killed our prophets if we felt that they were wrong. We persecuted the disciples. And all such. So we are people that's zealous for the law. So rather than come against us on that point, they let us go or they let us have that, because any other way they would have had trouble in the nation.
Well, think about it like this. When we think about our history today,
yeah,
a lot of us are so we're so subjugated to the history of this nation, right? It was this nation that really did the number on us. You know, once we know that Rome was the fourth beast, but once we got down to America, this is the nation coming into these slave trades and everything that really separated us. You know, prior to that, our people knew who they were, even when they were pagans. You know, if they were born in a certain region, you know, they still knew who they were. It's just that they adopted the customs of some of those other nations, and that's what I'm gonna prove tonight. A lot of our people believe that, you know, when our people were in some of these other nations, they weren't able to thrive. It was just like how it is now, so to speak, in a way. Like how everywhere you go, America have bases, you know, and you can go and get citizenship to different nations if you want, you know, but you still subject, you still, you know, held to being under these people. You know what I mean? Everywhere you go, America has their military bases. They got representation. And that's the same thing Rome did. Like nowadays, you know, with America hasn't really had a real threat up until recently or now. And so when you look at how America has lived over the long periods of time, you know, America has pretty much been in comfort. You know, they have all the nations under them, you know, and so Rome was pretty much that same way. America don't have any real threats, anybody to really worry about as far as overtaking them. That's how Rome was. And so because of that, it was the richest nation, and you can make a good living by being in the military. But that's what I'm gonna show you. You want to add something, Brother Kadar?
Yeah, my main thing is that you see that article you pulled up, and it said the soldiers of which says Jewish soldiers. We know that's talking about many of whom had Greek and Latin names, unless they are specially identified as Jew or found in Jewish context, such as dedicatorial inscriptions from a synagogue. So these exactly what happened today. We have European names, exact same thing. So when you go read these names like Cornelius, that was more, is that Greek or Latin? It's one of them. But what I'm saying is, it's Latin, okay? So what I'm saying is that his name right there hides his identity. And I don't know why people that's awakened to what we read, awakened to who we are, why wouldn't they think about that when they read their name?
Let's get into some of this. It says the name of this article, The Sons of Israel in Caesar's Service, Jewish Soldiers in the Roman Military, by Andrew J. Schoenfeld, MD. Hold on. He said it's something wrong with his thing. I'm gonna keep a lookout for him. But let's read some of this. It says the participation of Roman Jewish soldiers in the armies of Imperial Rome often goes unrecognized. This is mainly a result of a lack of recognition on the part of scholars who wish to use rabbinic sources as the benchmark for Jewish practice in the imperial age. So long story short, what did you just get from this, Brother Yash? That sentence right there. When it says that the Roman Jewish soldiers in the armies of Imperial Rome often goes unrecognized, this is mainly a result of a lack of recognition. When you see that right there, what automatically comes to mind? A lack of recognition. Look at what happened in this nation with all the great inventions and all the how all our people contributed, the contributions our people made. A lack of recognitions on the part of scholars who wish to use rabbinic sources as the benchmark of Jewish practice. So in other words, we're gonna not recognize the truth and replace it with other sources. Who have they done this to throughout history? What's up, Brother Yash? Nobody want to chime in. I'm gonna keep going. All right, so now watch this. It is also difficult to identify Jewish soldiers, many of whom had Greek and Latin names. Let me see something. Okay. It's also difficult to identify Jewish soldiers, many of whom had Greek and Latin names, unless they are specifically identified as Jews. I'm underlining this for a reason, because it said a lot of the Jews, right, Jewish soldiers had Greek and Latin names, and because of this also, it was difficult to identify whether they were Jews or not. Notice it says Jews. All right. So on top of the lack of recognition from scholars, you had many Jews who served in the Roman army who had Greek and Latin names. All right. And it was hard to identify that unless they were specifically identified as a Jew or are found in a Jewish context, such as a directory, inscriptions from a synagogue. All right. Nonetheless, by using a variety of sources from the period, it is possible to appreciate the depth and breadth of Jewish service in the Roman legions from the time of Caesar down to the early 5th century. All right, from the time of Caesar to the early 5th century, you had Jews who served in the Roman military. And let's see what positions they had. It says there were Jews who served as simple foot soldiers, influential generals like Tiberius Julius Alexander, and Jewish military units such as the Regai Imensi Adui. That's a word for Jew. All right. Regardless of their relationship to Orthodox Jewish communities of the time, the service of Rome, Jews in the imperial armed forces must be recognized. All right, so I'm gonna skip down some. Remember, it mentioned influential generals like Tiberius Julius Alexander. All right, we're gonna look at him a little bit. It says that he was an Alexandrian Jew. All right. And in this particular article, it says that he actually assisted Vespasian in going down into into Jerusalem in 70 AD. It said that it was an insurrection, an uprising of the people. But let me see. It says, matter of fact, let me just go back up. It says, in the year 69, the Roman province of Judea was consumed by a 3-year rebellion that pitted Jewish zealots against the authority of the emperor and the house of Herod. Not only was the revolt a destabilizing factor in the eastern region of the empire, but it also posed a significant challenge to the new emperor Vespasian. In order to quell the Jewish revolt in his eastern marches, Vespasian resolved to send an army under the command of his son Titus, with explicit orders to crush the insurrection. So there's a lot of rebellion going on against Caesar. All right, the Jews was rebelling hard. They wasn't paying taxes. They wasn't doing anything. You know, they were pretty much in disrespect of Caesar. All right, and they started revolting. So they had to get down there and stop, and that's what led to it. Although the emperor's young son showed exceptional talent and tactful leadership, he lacked the military experience deemed necessary for a Roman general. Therefore, the emperor was forced to choose an able commander capable of assisting Titus in the Judean exposition. A great number of prestigious military men were available for the post, including Annius Vinicanus. I don't know how to say that. Son-in-law to the famed general Corbulo. But Vespasian made the unlikely choice of an Alexandrian Jew named Tiberius Alexander. They called him an Alexandrian Jew because he came from Alexander in Egypt. That's where he was born. All right. But he was a Jew. It says to spearhead the Roman army in its efforts to thwart the Jewish uprising. And some people might think, well, how do you know that this Tiberius Julius Alexander was an actual Jew, bloodline Jew, like one of us? I'm going to show you in this article as we read down. It says, despite the outstanding military career of this Alexandrian Jew, his name and his legacy are largely unknown outside a small circle of specialists. Likewise, the participation of Jews in Roman military is a topic that is underemphasized or frankly ignored by historians. Most often, scholars quote the exemptions. All right. So now we're about to get into some understanding of why the Jews needed the exemptions. Most often, scholars quote the exemptions from military service granted to Jews at Ephesus and Delos, or elaborate on the difficulties that Sabbath service and dietary laws posed to Jewish men interested in serving under the imperial flag. So you had a lot of Jews who wanted to serve in the military for the same reason anybody else would want to be in the strongest, richest military, for the benefits. All right. This man Tiberius, he was pretty much raised to be in the position that he was in. All right, but let's keep reading, because we're trying to show you that Jews were in fact able to be in high positions. And some of these Jews, a lot of these Jews in the military go unrecognized because of scholars. They don't want to say why, you know, but these were black men serving in the Roman military. That's why. That's why it says his name and his legacy are largely unknown outside of a small circle, even though this man served in a high position. Likewise, the participation of Jews in the Roman military is a topic that is underemphasized or frankly ignored by historians. Most often, okay, I read that. Let's keep going. It says, when the issue of Jewish service in the Roman army is addressed, it is not without a certain degree of skepticism, and Roman Jews in imperial service often cast in the light of renegades and apostates. All right, so like anything else, you know, think about a lot of people today when you try to take off for, you know, the Sabbath. A lot of people want to keep the Sabbath, Saturday. And so when you try to do that, a lot of times your job might give you a hard time and think you're just trying to get an extra day off work or something like that. That's the same light that they cast the men back then. The Roman army wasn't under any real threats at this time. All the conquering had been done. And so Rome was pretty much stationed everywhere. And if you wanted to join the military, you could under certain positions. You had certain people who was foot soldiers. You had certain people who were part of units, and you had certain people who rose to high positions. And I'm putting all this out there for us to consider Cornelius. This article told us that there were Jews who were difficult to identify, Jewish soldiers who were difficult to identify because they had Greek, many had Greek and Latin names. All right, so when you think about Cornelius, and when you think about what it says about him, let me go real quick. I think I have it somewhere right here. Acts 10. It says there was a certain man, all right, a certain man. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band, a devout man, and one that feared Elohim with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to Elohim always. So this man feared Elohim, all right, with all his house, which gave much alms to the people, all right, and he prayed to Elohim always. And he saw in a vision, evidently about the 9th hour of the day, an angel of Elohim coming in to him and saying unto him, Cornelius. All right, so we all know the rest. So this man is a devout man, all right, a man that feared Elohim with all his house, and he prayed always. So he saw a vision. And so how was it that he was able to see this vision? Verse 30. It says, and Cornelius said, 4 days ago, I was fasting. So this was a devout man who prayed to Elohim always. All right. He gave much alms to the people, and he was fasting. All right. Why was he? This is how he was able to see the vision, is because he was fasting. And so the question is, how did this man have all these attributes? How did he even know the Most High to begin with? You know, was this just a man who, remember, he was A centurion. What is a centurion? A centurion is somebody who's over, I think, 80 to 100 people. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. All right, what is a centurion? A centurion, a professional officer of the Roman army. A centurion was a position in the Roman army during classical antiquity, nominally the commander of a century, a military unit of around 80 legionaries. In a Roman legion, centuries were grouped into cohorts commanded by their seniormost centurion. The prestigious first cohort was led by the Primus Pilus, the most senior centurion in the legion, and its third in command. So a centurion was somebody who was over a military unit, around 80 legionaries. All right. Some sources say 100. That's what really centurion is, 100. All right. And so let's go back. Just thinking about Cornelius. All right. It says a devout man, one that feared Elohim. Devout means sincere. One that feared Elohim, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to Elohim always. All right, so now let's go back to the article. Now we know why they needed exemptions. They were able to actually request to be off for the Sabbath, and they kept the dietary laws. All right. Now, most of this is prior to the Mashiach and actually during the time when the gospel of Mashiach was being spread. So you still had Jews who were conscious of the law, and you had some Jews who rejected their heritage and chose to live like the customs of the other nations. It says, I'm going to start right here. It says, thus without any documentation. I don't want that part. Let me go down some. Okay. This is dealing with Tiberius Julius Alexander, the Egyptian Jew who was destined to become one of the most powerful personas in the empire, was born in the year 16 in Alexander. His father, Alexander Lysimachus, was a member of the Egyptian gentry and customs chief on the Arabian frontier. He was an Egyptian Jew, an Alexandrian Jew. Tiberius's uncle was none other than the famous philosopher Philo. Like many rich assimilated Jews in the city of Alexander, Tiberius' family had received Roman citizenship during the reign of Augustus and expected their children to assume important posts in the imperial administration from a young age. Tiberius and his brother Marcus were groomed for a position in the Roman bureaucracy. So this Tiberius Julius Alexander was an Egyptian Jew. He was born in Egypt. All right. And he was pretty much groomed to be in a high position. So think about a Colin Powell or what's her name? Condoleezza Rice, people like that, who were brought up to pretty much be in those positions and groomed to be in those positions. It says, now watch this. Their father eschewed, or he despised, a standard Jewish education and instead had his children tutored in the classics. So what this is telling you is that his father didn't raise them up under the customs of their traditions or their heritage. It says he tutored them in the classics. And it says once the boys reached manhood, Alexander Lysimachus arranged for his sons to enter disparate fields in Roman imperial service. Marcus would become influential in the family's native city of Alexander and eventually married Princess Bernice, the daughter of King Agrippa I. Meanwhile, Tiberius began his illustrious career in the Roman army, where his leadership skills and family connections allowed him to secure the post of governor of the Thebaid in 42. So this brother, who was a Jew, Alexandrian Jew, rose to be the position of a governor. All right. Tiberius's success in this position prompted Emperor Claudius to appoint him procurator of Judea 4 years later. All right. The procurator was like a financier. All right, so he was a financier over Judea 4 years later. At this time, the province of Judea was a hotbed of revolution as Jewish zealots struggled to throw off the yoke of Roman homogamy. Many of his core religionists considered Tiberius a turncoat for serving the Roman emperor, but the historian Josephus records that Tiberius's time as procurator was a period of peace in Judea. Like I said, they ruled, or this was during a time when the Romans pretty much ruled everywhere. So this was a time of peace, quote unquote. The only issue they had was in Judea. And this was during the time of the siege in 70 AD. And so you had this brother right here. It said that many of his core religionists, talking about many of his own people, considered Tiberius a turncoat or a sellout. All right, that's what a turncoat is, for serving the Roman emperor. Like how not to be disrespectful, and I don't do this, but what do we hear some of our people say about some of the black people in leadership and in politics?
They're sellouts.
So this is the same thing they said about this brother for serving the Roman emperor, but this was during a time of peace. Like I said, Rome didn't have any real threats or anything during this time. All the conquering had been done. So if you wanted to be in the military, you could be in the military. Later on, things started to get worse, where they started to persecute our people, just kind of like how it is now. You know, we had 400 years of being here. The beginning of that was chattel slavery, but things started to change. You know, society started to change. Our people started to get assimilated more into society. And that's where the illusion of the success came, you know. But what's going on, brother Banya?
Peace and blessings, bro. How's it going?
It's all good. Just trying to break this down real quick.
This is on Cornelius, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just this is not dealing with Cornelius, but this is dealing with another brother who was a Jew, an Alexandrian Jew, who was also in a high position in the Roman military.
Mm-hmm.
But it says he was a Jew specifically.
Okay.
And so I'm just trying to make a connection. Could this be Cornelius's case, because it also said in the top of this article, I don't know if you were able to catch it, but let me just go real quick. It said that a lot of Jews go unrecognized that served in the Roman military, but then it says it is also difficult to identify Jewish soldiers, many of whom had Greek and Latin names, unless they are specifically identified as Jews. So forth and so on.
Yeah, remember the video we watched that one time, and the brother actually broke that down about how a lot of the Israelites that were assimilating into Rome were taking on those type of names.
Yeah.
You know, basically, you know, they're Hellenized. A lot of them were Hellenized in that regard, that they spoke the languages and you know, had the same similar names and things like that, which is natural. I mean, if you want to see like an example, is just like us, you know. A lot of our names that even the names that we're given today, you know, and I'm not even talking about like last names that were passed down from you know, from slave masters, but the names that we name our children today, these are based off of, you know, a standard of society. You know, you have brothers' names James and Kevin, and you know, you get some Maliks in there and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
you understand what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I get you. The same flow, the same way it is, you know, nothing new under the sun.
Absolutely. You know.
So this, I wanted to bring this out because this proves that, and also notice it says that he came from a wealthy family, you know. And so when you think about him being in the position that he's in, and even how he was able to get in that position, it was because he was groomed for that. His father was wealthy, he had connections. And so when you look at Cornelius, how was Cornelius able to assume that position of a centurion? You know, now this is my proof that some people might even say Cornelius was one of the 10 tribes. And I'm gonna even stretch my neck out and say I believe he was a Jew now. I could be wrong. And that's just us, you know, putting cards on the table.
Well, this is the reason why I would say he was one of the 10 tribes. Is because if he was just Hellenized and he was a Jew, the others from the southern kingdom would have still recognized him as a Jew, but they would have knew that he was just Hellenized. But when Peter went to meet him, he said, we're not supposed to deal with one of another nation. So they completely seen him as an outsider, period. You know, Peter and all the other southern kingdomers, they were well aware of the, you know, of the Hellenization of the southern kingdom, you know. So they would have understood certain people or certain Israelites speaking Greek, you know.
Let me show you something. Let me show you something real quick. Oh, hold up, man. I didn't mean to do that. Give me a second. Let me pull it up. I think I showed you this before. Let me see. Is it okay. This is dealing with when Mashiach was on trial before Pilate. This is Nicodemus. It says, the elders of the Jews answered and said unto Yehoshua, what shall we see? Firstly, that thou was born of fornication. Secondly, that thy birth in Bethlehem was the cause of the slaying of children. Thirdly, that thy father Joseph and thy mother Miriam fled into Mizraim because they had no confidence before the people. Then certain of them that stood by, devout men of the Jews, we say not that he came of fornication, but we know that Joseph was betrothed unto Miriam, and he was not born of fornication. Pilate said unto those Jews which said that he came of fornication, this your saying is not true, for there were spouses as these also say, which are of your nation. And Cornelius and Caiaphas say unto Pilate, the whole multitude of us cry out that he is born of fornication, and we are not believed, but these are proselytes and disciples of his. And Pilate called Cornelius and Caiaphas unto him and said, what be proselytes? And they said unto him, they were born children of the Greeks, and now are they become Jews. Down here they said, we are not Greeks, we are children of the Jews. So they identified these Jews as Greeks.
Indeed. And I believe the brother at Tell Ministry, when we was having a conversation on that, he had mentioned that, Jews were called Greeks also. And that's powerful because what it tells you is, all these different words that we're seeing, a lot of them don't even denote a person's national origin. Yeah. Now we know for sure that Gentile, it doesn't denote a national origin or any particular ethnic group. But when you get into Greek, Greek is typically, when you say Greek, you're typically talking about someone that's a Hellen, or someone from Hellas. But when we read the New Testament and you see Greek, it doesn't always mean that. That's why it's important to get the understanding and the meaning of these words, because you can't just apply them to any particular people. You have to go according to the context of what it's saying and what's consistent throughout the whole Bible.
Yeah.
And even with that, like, there have to be principles applied when you read the scripture. Context is important, always. But what are the principles of the Most High? Because this is the word of the Most High, right?
Yeah.
So the Most High's word is consistent too. He doesn't change, right? Just like they say Jesus today, yes, Jesus the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Most High the same yesterday. Did the Most High the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow? His word doesn't change. Thus said the word that go forth out of my mouth, it should not come back void. Right? So if the Most High don't change, and that have to be a principle when we start determining certain audiences within the scripture. Most High is not going to go from saying all Israel will be saved and that he made a covenant with Israel and that he's going to make a covenant with Israel, right? When he said the day is come that I will make a new covenant, and then all of a sudden you see new people coming into this covenant. The Most High could have said that already. He would have said he made a covenant for all people. But he the Most High was very clear when he said he chose Israel to be above all nations, and he was very clear when he said those nations are but a drop in the bucket, and that Lebanon is not sufficient to burn, nor its beasts good enough for a burnt offering. So he chose one particular group of people for a particular purpose. All right. He chose us for a purpose, and that purpose will be fulfilled. His will be fulfilled. You know, other
Let's
nations ain't nothing to him. That's just the reality of it. People don't like to hear it. The Most High got he has a choice also. People want to take away the Most High's choice, like he can't choose to have a particular people. He created us. You're a piece of clay. How you gonna tell him what he can do?
But you know, that's a lot of people, you know, that's really knocking them out the park right there with that. You know, a lot of what we do is we try to focus on the intricacies, you know, the mechanics. There's a lot of little details people try to use, you know, and one thing, when a lot of people tell you to you know, if you do the research and do your research, you know, and a lot of times in my view that serves somewhat as a deterrent, because a lot of people don't really research, you know. And so I see it a lot, you know, people you'll have a video where somebody will state something as fact and, you know, show you information, and then they'll say do your research. If you do your research, you'll see this. That really serves as a deterrent. Not saying that was this brother's intention, but a lot of times that what it does, it deters you from actually going to research, because they're showing you a portion of something and you're solidifying that in your head as truth, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever somebody say that, then that's what you do. You go right behind and research, and that's what I did. Found out that, you know, it was more to that actual piece of information that was shown, and it leads you into a broader understanding. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? So to me, this is an indication that those of our people who were dispersed among the Gentiles were considered Gentiles. I could be wrong, but this is my understanding of this. This is what I'm seeing. Or is he referring to two different groups within this passage?
Hey, do me a favor, bro. And this is a little bit off topic, but when I called you, this was actually what I was going to come on and chop it up about. The sister beloved of the Most High asks, so do we hate Esau, and is Esau white? And I wanted to I actually really wanted to touch on that when I had called you. That was something I wanted to chop it up about. So after we're done here, we can continue on, because I'm right now, and you hear some buttons clicking, it's me grabbing information on that right now. But
Okay.
But yeah, once we're done with that, I would like if you and the brother Yash could weigh in on some of this stuff also that I want to bring up concerning that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm with it.
It says, do we hate Esau, and is Esau white? I know that the Bible says that the Most High hated Esau, you know, and so I won't go beyond that, you know. Is Esau white? My belief is that Esau has been whited out, and I'm gonna leave that at that for now.
Yeah, I want to add this, basically the same thing. It says that Esau's seed has been spoiled. I believe that Esau is, well, it tells you in the book of Jasher how going back to Zephyr was ruling in Chittim, and how they had some dissension in that kingdom, and there was war, and they put Zephyr down, and it said, I want to find it to read it. You know, people like to not cut it out, and I don't say that he's the totality of the white man, but the Jews even confess. You look it up. It says, look up modern Edom is modern day Jewry. They even confessed in their own encyclopedia that Esau is reigning in them and in the religion of Judaism. They confess that Esau became the Romans Empire. And it says in the book of Jasher, here it is. God, I didn't want to bring it up like that. I keep bringing it up wrong. Hold on a second.
Hold on to that too when you get it, because I wanted to make a point with that also.
Yeah,
Josh.
Yeah,
that's so keep that handy.
Yep. I can open it. That's stupid. But it tells how he went into this war with them. Oh, here it comes finally. Zephyr. I'm gonna type it in and read it. I'm having problems with my daggone thing today.
What you looking for? That
Zephyr and Chittim. But my
yeah,
thing is
that's
acting stupid today.
like chapter 91, I think.
You know what? You're right. Let me just go on straight to it. It's so easy.
I think it's 91 in my book.
In 91 in your book?
I believe so.
Oh. Emotional. Oh, here it is. Wars in Africa. The Zephyr leads army right here. 64. It was just before before we went in there. It says in Jasher chapter 64. Hold on, I want to go up a little further. Y'all bear with me. Wow. Yeah, because Zephyr and Hadad were ruling. Okay, Israel in bondage. Yeah, it goes up a little further than that. Oh, let me see. One with the children. Next.
So chapter 90.
Chapter 90?
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay, chapter 90. Yes, that's it. Verse 8. And now that whole part don't want to come up. Yeah, it says, and the children of Chittim ruled over Edom, and Edom became under the hand of the children of Chittim, and became one kingdom from that day. And from that time they could no more lift up their heads, and their kingdom became one with the children of Chittim. That's in Jasher chapter 90, verses 8 and 9. So it says they became one. And if you look at it this way, we've been subdued by America, but we have never became one. We are still 3/5 of a human being in this country. And pretty much wherever we are scattered among the Gentiles, even though, I mean, we can have countries like Haiti, Jamaica, other Caribbean countries, but we don't run those countries. I think Barbados finally got their black queen, whatever, and she ain't gonna rule. And here it is. This is 2022. So even in countries where we're the dominant people, we have not been able to become one with our oppressors. So Esau, that was the beginning of the whiting out of Esau, specifically, I think it was Zepho and two of his kings. And another point, Esau's ruling descendants became known as dukes.
But here's something I want to ask you, brother.
Okay.
Are you saying that Esau got whited out through mixing with Japheth?
I'm saying he got, yes.
All right.
But now what I think also, though, hear me out, because this Esau thing is complicated. Because I don't believe he's totally whited out as a people, but I believe that his ruling family has been whited out. You know, specifically the seed of Eliphaz and the seed of let me go back to 68 to tell you namely who, and they're the main rulers of this world. But I believe he's in pretty much every nationality. You know.
So this is what I'm going to say. Noah. All right, we can start from Noah, right?
Yeah. And
we can ask this question. Noah was a man of color, right? He was a black man.
Yeah.
Right? So would it be logical to say that his sons would be black or men of color? Right?
Yeah.
So we have Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Right.
So my understanding is that all of them were men of color.
Right.
But the reason why Esau is the color he is because of who he mixed with. One,
yeah.
And I absolutely agree that he mixed with somebody that make him look that way. Now, going back to what they said Noah looked like in was it the Book of Enoch?
Yes, Enoch.
What Noah looked like, and it frightened his mother,
right,
and his father, right? They said he looked like one of the angels,
right.
Now, was it because his skin was white, or was it because of his eyes? I don't know.
I think it was okay. You go ahead. Complete.
Yeah, Yeah, but go ahead, say it, because you
No,
probably
I
understand.
think it was both, but I think it was more so of his skin.
Right.
He appeared not as like the holy angels, but as the
Mm-hmm.
fallen ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they thought, because at that time the seed of the fallen angel. That's what they thought he was.
Indeed. So we can say that one of the attributes from the angels would be a certain type of skin color, right?
Yeah.
Now, when we look at who Esau was mixing with, and this is what I was going to get to. All right. I don't want to stop the brother lesson.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's too
I
late.
really just wanted to prove how Jews could rise to high ranks in the Roman army. And so taking that into consideration with the fact that most of them couldn't be identified because of the names, Cornelius could have well been a Jew, seeing that he was a centurion.
Mm-hmm. Do me a favor, bro. If you can grab the scripture where Esau intermingles with the Horites for me, real quick.
See, now you where my mind was. I didn't even get to go there. Okay, give me a second. Because I was thinking about that too. Him basically with the Canaanites. Okay.
Exactly. All right, so because what we gotta realize is this. If hold on, I'm sorry, my glasses. If Noah was a man of color, that means Shem, Ham, and Japheth were men of color. So we have to figure out what was the origin of Japheth being whited out, right? We don't have an origin of Japheth being whited out,
right?
But we do have an origin of Esau being whited out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to share my scripture, and this isn't an attack on anybody's understanding or any particular brother or camp. But I'm going to say this. I do not believe that Esau came out looking like Brad Pitt, and Jacob came out looking like Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
I believe they both came out as men of color. And the reason why I'm saying that is this. I'm sorry. The reason why I'm saying that is that dark skin is a dominant trait, right?
Yes.
Thus, if we mix with someone who's lacking melanin, our features would still shine through.
Yes.
Right? If Esau was the only white man, the first white man to be born, he would have been his skin color wouldn't remain.
Right.
Because he's surrounded by people of color.
Wow.
So if he mixed with a woman, her dominant trait, and then they mix with another person with their dominant trait, Esau would be blacked out.
Exactly. Right? Yeah.
So he had to mix amongst exactly. So he had to mix amongst some people. So when we see people reading Genesis 25:5, and it said the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau, and that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and then his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was three score years old when she bare him, when she bare him, right?
Yeah.
That's not saying that Esau came out as a white man.
Right.
I can tell you right now, like black people, some of us have a reddish hue to our skin also. You know?
Yes, exactly.
Some of us have a reddish hue to our skin also, right? Esau couldn't have came out as like Brad Pitt, being the only white man. He would have been the dominant traits would have overtook him. So he in the end he would still look like one of us.
Right.
So where are all these people that have this lack of melanin coming from? Right?
Yeah.
And my understanding is that now let's get to this. There's a couple of things going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to Brother Eric about this. When Israel came into the land of Canaan, the Most High gave Israel checks and balance on how to deal with leprosy. Right? Now I'm going to show you something. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let me see if I can enhance this. Right, I'm going to show you something. I'm gonna look up leprosy.
Yeah.
Leprosy, and I'm doing this for a reason. And I'm gonna put plague with it. Right now, this is when they came into the land. Leprosy, plague, leprosy, plague. See that? Leprosy, plague. And the last time you see leprosy and plague is in Deuteronomy. All right. Nowhere else is leprosy being described as a plague. Now, let's take a look at what a plague is real quick. All right. Plague. You guys see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
It says a contagious bacterial disease characterized by fever and delirium, typically with the formation of bulbous or bubonic plague. So they're talking about bubonic plague in particular. So let's take a look at the underlying ones, right? It says a contagious disease that spreads rapidly and kills many people. All right. Now let's start right there. Typically, that's the basic understanding of a plague, a contagious disease that spreads rapidly, right? Can we agree on that?
Yep.
Right. So if we see that that's what a plague is, and the Most High gives Israel checks and balances on how to deal with leprosy as a plague or something that was widespread within the land of Canaan, right? Widespread within the land of Canaan. It says when the plague of leprosy is in a man, it should be brought unto the priest, and the priest should see him and behold, if the rising be white in the skin, and it have turned the hair white, and there be quick raw flesh in the rising, it is an old leprosy in the skin of his flesh, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and shall not shut him up, for he is unclean. Right? And it says if the leprosy breaks out abroad in the skin, and the leprosy covers all the skin of him that hath the plague, from his head even unto his foot, wheresoever the priest looketh, then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that hath the plague. It is all turned white, he is clean. So a clean leper would be one who has the leprosy all over their body. Now, some of the attributes of this leprosy: white hair, right? We see these type of characteristics with people that are albino also, right? But this leprosy is not just that. It's talking about boils and things like that. But the results of getting that would turn a person white. Now, the Most High gave Israel checks and balances on how to deal with this leprosy, because when they came into the land of Canaan, they would go into their houses, and there'd be houses that had leprosy in the walls also. And they was commanded to take these pieces of the house and put them outside of the camp. Now, this was because whatever was on that wall would cause a man to contract leprosy also, right? A type of fungus on him that would cause these type of results on his skin, where his skin would turn white and his hair would turn white. Now, if a man was unclean with leprosy, they would shut him up, and he would have to be what we call quarantined or separated from the other people until he's pronounced clean. Why? Because it was a widespread plague. Now, here's the kicker. Let's go over to Esau. The people that Esau married amongst with the Ishmaelites, but he also married, and Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, then went Esau unto Ishmael. So he married unto Ishmael and unto his wives, which had Mahalalah. Now let's move forward. Skip another chapter, right? And it says, now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives from the daughters of Canaan, right? Now, not only did he take these wives, he also bare children in the land of Canaan. It said in the Halabama bare Jeush, and Jalam, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. Now, why am I saying this? Remember, the Most High gave Israel checks and balances on how to deal with the plague of leprosy. That means that leprosy was widespread throughout the land of Canaan before Israel went into that land. So these people that were dwelling in the land of Canaan were bring children being born in it, people dwelling in it, living in it without no checks and balances, living in the land of Canaan that was plagued with leprosy. Now, am I saying that Esau is a leprous person right now? No. I think it's a combination of him doing this, living in Canaan, and also a combination of Esau intermarrying with the Horites. Right? The Horites being the seed of the fallen ones. Because you see the attributes of one that has leprosy, one skin is white, and also their hair is white.
Yeah.
So if you living and you operating that, you don't know what kind of results that could have on a person's body, or what it would cause if people constantly procreating in a plague like that. You know, but then there's this other information, right? Do we determine who Esau is just by the color of his skin? Absolutely not, because he mixed with other people.
Right.
Now this was before Esau. Esau mixed with the Horites and he mixed with the Canaanites before he went over there and he mixed with Japheth.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So Japheth came in contact with Esau after the fact of dealing with Canaan and dealing with the Horites. That means that if Esau started procreating with Japheth, they would inherit the same type of attributes that Esau inherited from who he was dealing with prior before. Because now you're not just dealing with one man, Esau, you're dealing with a whole nation of people that have been doing this. See what I'm saying? And that and taking it back to what it says in Jasper, that they became one kingdom. Even to this day, you have agents that don't have the same hue as the Chinese or the Korean or the Japanese, right? Some of them have color in their skin. Some of them are less whited out than the others. You know?
Right. And you know what? I take it back to where you say also those attributes. You know what I mean? Because that same attribute of that his main attribute was him holding on to that hatred to the end. And we have hatred this of pretty much every nationality, even Africans, that have a hatred for us as Israelites. That's why they can't even get together as a nation. I pretty much call them a chameleon. But yeah, I believe it began with the mixing in with the Canaanites.
But here's another thing. Since we on attributes, check it out. When we approached this, we didn't even approach it according to skin color. And the reason why is because he's mixed with so many people. You can't just determine who's an Edomite strictly off the color of their skin.
Right.
So opposed to just going to individuals, oh, that's an Edomite, oh, that's an Edomite, right? What does the prophecy say about them as a whole, right? And the scripture says that Jacob gave Esau a blessing.
Yeah.
Right? Esau's blessing was this. And it says, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling should be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Now, what is talking about? When had Jacob had Esau in subjugation? When David had the Edomites in subjugation. David had them in subjugation, and it said this in 2 Samuel 8:13. And David gat him a name when he returned from smiting of the Syrians in the valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. And he put garrisons in Edom throughout all Edom, right? Throughout all Edom, put he garrisons, and all they of Edom became David's servants. And the Most High preserved David whithersoever he went. So David reigned over Edom. All of Esau, all of the Edomites became servants to David. Now, going back to the prophecy, it says when he has the dominion, he will break its yoke off his neck. Now, the main word is dominion. Now, when you look up the word dominion, what does that mean? Check this out. This is what dominion means. It says sovereignty or control. Now, some of these words right here is key indicators to who Esau is.
Exactly.
It says supremacy. If Esau, if we dealing with, are we dealing with white supremacy throughout the earth? Yes. Ascendancy, dominance, domination, superiority, predominance, preeminence, primacy, hegemony, authority, mastery, control, command, direction, power, sway, rule, government, jurisdiction, sovereignty. It says suzerainty, lordship, overlordship, overlordship, grasp, empire, predomination,
leadership,
exactly,
upper hand, the whip hand,
exactly.
The whip hand,
mm-hmm.
The whip hand.
Exactly. So we dealing with all these different attributes of Esau, and we know in the Apocrypha it says Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning that follows. So the Apocrypha confirmed that Esau would be ruling in the last days, that he would be the last one to go down before Jacob's rule starts.
And so, and that's really why we say that he's the white man. It's really by fault. It's really generalizing, but it's actualizing at the same thing. But it's not about hating them, because if we would all be honest with ourselves, and I had to tell another person this when I was explaining, I was telling them the truth, but I had to break it down, and I spoke of all the basic the negative attributes, or the dominion and all this stuff that Brother Banya just read in the definition, and it came off as if, it sounds like kind of like hate speech. Actually, it's the truth, but it's if people will look at it in a fearful sight. And then I turned around and I told the person, after I named all these dominating terms, I said, but we love them. And see, so it's nothing to fear, because the truth is, we just acknowledge all the oppression that we've been placed under, But we as a people are able to express the oppression that we've been through and are currently under, while simultaneously still having a love for the very oppressors that are doing it to us. So it's not a hatred, it's a frustration.
You know, and I agree with that, but I'm gonna say this, man. I don't think it's love. I think it's fear.
Mm.
I think it's fear, man. And I think, you know, it's easy to say you love somebody who's dominant over you and forceful over you, and there's really not much you can do about it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not love, man. It's us trying to do what we can to
make it
to sway them from harming us.
Yeah, because what it is always, because what I was telling the person is we're always in the position. What it is that we always find ourselves in the position of trying to prove to these people that we are human, rather than, you know, just letting them know, listen, you are inhuman. That's what it is. We go out of our way being nice, knowing that they have this hatred, but because inside we know that they do not look at us as human beings. Because to them, see, what we don't realize is because to them, human beings are monsters. Because they monsters. I agree with you, little brother.
I mean, I heard somebody say once that I love those that love me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the way of not singling anybody out. I'm not worrying about whether they think I hate or love them. What kind of love have they shown me and my people? You know, I haven't shown any hate toward them or toward anybody, but and I can honestly say that the Most High, you know, has given us peace. You know, like how he said, if a man's ways please the Most High, he'll make his enemies to be at peace with him. So that's kind of my lane, you know what I mean? But that don't blind me from the reality of what's going on, you know. And it also doesn't make me a rebel, because I know that we don't have the means to fight and stand up against our enemies. You know,
you know what confirms that what you were saying is true? All you got to do is do a comparison. If you want to find out if we love them or we fear them, look at how we treat each other and look at how we treat them. Look at the things that we accept from them and look at the things that we accept from each other, or that we going to accept from each other. You know, why is it so easy for our people to go out there and murder each other, right? And then stand in front of a judge and refer to him as your honor, right? Why is it so hard for us to sit down and have cordial conversations with each other when we be calling each other Israelites and know that we the chosen people, but we can't get together and have a discussion without, you know, being name calling and things like that? But the same people that's doing that, they go into their jobs and they you know, they're respectful to those people that's paying them.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, fear be governing a lot of people's decisions, man. You know, the way we look at each other. If you see a white man walking down the street and he got some holes in his jeans But you can tell he's not homeless, right? He just looks like he's taking a walk, right? People will see him walking and they won't think it's second thought, like, oh well, yeah, he's probably just getting some air. But you see one of our people walking down the street with holes in their jeans. Look at this bum. Look at this guy. This guy, he ain't got no car. Right? Our people, we worry about the most mediocre things, man, concerning each other, man, and we don't cut each other no slack. And that's how you can tell a lot of brothers and sisters, and I'm not talking about anybody in this chat, but we fear them. It's not love, it's fear. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Like the brother said, the Most High said, I love them that love me. And those that seek me early shall find me. If somebody hate my people, I hate them. And I'm not even talking about individually, right? I can like I can get along with a white man. I can even be friends with a white man. I don't have a problem doing it. Right? But that's the way we supposed to be. Just balances and just weights. If somebody don't disrespect me, I'm not gonna disrespect them. But if I find out you hate my people, and I find out that you're one way with me and another way with my people, then I'll hate you. I'll hate you too. If you don't hate me, I don't hate you. If you don't hate my people, I don't hate you. Because if you hate my people, you hate me. You're just trying to be sneaky and underhanded until you can try to find some type of way to really cause some type of damage in my life. That's the only reason why you're being friendly. But if you hate my people, I most definitely hate you. And I think that's one of the things that we gotta be honest about amongst each other and with other people. It's hard to do that in this society, to let people know, like, if you don't like me, I don't like you. It's hard to do that because we worried about things being taken away from us. We don't want that to happen. But Esau is most definitely the one ruling and governing this world, and the one that upholds white supremacy. And I've said it before, if it's so many good ones of them, there's so many good people, so many good white people out there, why are we still in the condition we in?
Yeah.
And that's what I tell them. I tell them to their face. Because I confront them about it. Not in a bad light, but I let them know that there's a problem here that you can't see. And if you can't see the problem, then you are the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I confront them.
But that's why I said, if we want to use the Bible as an example, and Cornelius is our only example in the Bible, where else in the Bible does it show a white man who loved our nation, gave alms to our people, and it said he built them a synagogue? That's the equivalent of giving somebody land, right? Land and money. He said he gave alms to the people. Why is he the only white man in the Bible that done that? And if that's an example of how, quote unquote, Gentiles can be saved, how come, like Brother Bunya said, how come we don't have many more of them doing that? We the ones in the low position.
Mm-hmm.
That's asking for a handout.
Yeah. Okay. We find so many different excuses when it comes to doing something that's going to benefit us as a people. When we start talking about reparation, then now all of a sudden the issue is, do you deserve it? Was you in slavery then? And but you got people still receiving reparations, you know, for things that their parents went through over there in Germany. You know,
the last lady, I think just a couple of years ago, she died. She was receiving reparations for her family from slavery. I didn't even know they were still giving descendants of the slave owners reparations. It wasn't just to the immediate ones. It was to it was to their children's children.
Exactly. Then you have these conversations coming up about the outrage people would have, you know, if they did something like that for us. But where's the outrage for things like that happening? Things like that going on? You know, where's the outrage for how a lot of these companies are building their wealth off the backs of our people still enslaved in prison, working for pennies on the dollar. You know, all these major corporations that's gotten wealthy through the brothers and sisters being incarcerated. What about the banks started? What about the Wall Street? You know, what about all the prosperous businesses that got shut down, you know, because they didn't want our people to be able to excel?
Shoot, but now Israel said, why do all other cultures call them devil? Native Americans, Latino, Chinese, etc. We weren't the first.
You know,
on point.
See, when it comes to that, though, we have to, you know, ignore all of that and be strong now, you know, when it comes to that, which we do.
We do.
That's the position the Most High put us in. But then most of our people don't have that understanding. They don't see the walls closing in on our people. Just like you look at history, look at how all of our people over time start to diminish until they got exiled from that region down into Africa. You know, all that happened over a period of time. But all before that, you read about history of our people doing well, you know, throughout, you know, certain spans of time. I ain't saying everybody just had it good. But just like now, you know, some of our people may have it going on, some of our people don't, you know. But for the most part, a lot of our people who were migrating, they had a lot of wealth. They had, you know, a lot to sustain themselves, and they had high positions. That's how they were able to migrate, move around, and all that. It's just that now, you know, they don't want us to know about that history. That's why they were able to go into different places and you know, get to themselves and prosper. They did that everywhere they went until we got here. Even here, it happened up to a certain point, but then it got diminished. But that's a part of our history. Like, you know, we talking about love. How do you love me when you hiding information from me?
Exactly.
You know, if you was in a relationship with somebody and they did that, you know, that would be considered deceitful. You know, that's not how you show love to a person, by hiding who they really are, because it makes you feel some type of way.
You know, the sad thing is, man, that, you know, even at this stage where brothers and sisters are awakening by the millions, man, you still got people willing to step out there and be the snake and be the betrayer of our people and try to deter brothers and sisters from waking up to who they are. You know, I heard a brother, I don't even want to call him a brother. I heard Garfield say that he want Dante Fortson to show him a black person coming off the shit, speaking Hebrew and practicing Hebrew customs. And I'm like, yo, that's the stupidest request you can never ask for. What nation do you ever see somebody being in? What nation you ever heard of being enslaved, being allowed to keep their cultures and all of that other stuff and keep their languages? How is that a benefit to enslave somebody, but allow them to continue in their identity so that they can remember what you did and try? This is what it's about. It's about wiping the name of Israel out of our mouths. They knew who Israel was. They knew who we were when they did it. They want us to forget it. They want us to forget the name of Israel, that it be no more in remembrance.
And not only that, they look at it from the aspect as if they took a whole bunch of adults. When they took children, babies, 2, 3, all the way up to like 28 years old, but they took the children. That's why we call it the children of Israel. They took the majority of them was children before they had a chance to really have culture instilled into them. They snatched them up, and then they beat in this culture that we have, that we celebrate today.
Yeah, I was gonna say that same thing. They separated the children from the parents.
Yeah, separated them. All kinds of wickedness.
And like anything else, we just like we read with the history of the Jews who served in the Roman military, how it's a lack of recognition. That's all it is. It's a lack of recognition of our history. Like when people think about the Inquisitions, they don't think about our people. They think that they went around slaughtering everybody. When a lot of these other kingdoms submitted to that religion because they were allowed to bring in their pagan customs. It was our people who was rejecting that.
Yep.
But they dismissed that from history. They dismissed all of the fact that there was a diaspora, just like during the Roman rulership, that was a diaspora of our people. Rome had stations everywhere, all throughout Asia Minor, Jerusalem, Judea, Europe, everywhere. So there's a lot of things not being considered when it comes to who we are, just like with Edom, bringing up that. A lot of people don't consider that he mixed with the Canaanites and how that carried out and how that affected their turnout later on. It's just a lack of consideration.
It seems like you have one part saying one thing and another part saying another. I'm like, okay, if the white man is Japhet, can somebody tell me who exactly is Esau in the earth? If the white man is Japhet, then who's Esau?
How did he become white?
Yeah, exactly. How did he become white? And two, who and where is Esau at? Esau is the Saudi Arabians. Who is Ishmael? Ishmael is not the Saudi Arabians. Who is he then? And furthermore, if Japhet is the white man, how did the Saudi Arabians end up looking the same way as them?
If they Ishmael.
Yeah, if they Ishmael. How they end up looking that way? When did Japheth mix with them? Yeah,
I think the same way, like you said, it doesn't really suffice for a lot of people to deal with color to identify who Israel is in this time, like how we, try to use color. And it's the same way with Esau. You can identify them by either the curse or the blessing.
Exactly.
The same way you can identify us through the curses, you can identify who Esau is through the blessings.
Absolutely. And that's how you got to approach it. That's the only way you can approach it, because what's going to happen when you start talking about this skin color, that skin color, then you're going to set yourself up as looking like that's the prerequisite with you, and that's, skin color should never be the prerequisite. Biblical understanding should be the prerequisite. The Most High didn't tell us to look for the color of skin. He told us to look for the attributes that he would be giving them, according to them ruling in the earth. Who has gotten everything that they've gotten through war? What did the Targum say? Who does the Targum say they are? Who did the Targum say we would be serving our 400 years of captivity under? He said the Targum said we'd be serving our 400 years of captivity under Esau and Edom. Who is wrong?
Same with the ladder of Jacob.
And then, the Bible is written from an already understood perspective. So they didn't have to identify with color and all those things when these things was originated. And so all that's really just a plus. It's like most people accepted Mashiach in their heart, but it was a plus to find out his true identity, But then he also said that above all things, it behooves him to be made like unto his brethren. And so
all things.
To me, to say that color is not, it doesn't suffice to identify who we are, doesn't negate the color factor. It's just to say that we have more certainty through our condition as a people to prove who we are. And you can be smart about it or you can be simple, that's on you. But what people just off the top have been subjugated and haven't returned to their homeland, to this day, separated from their land of origin, and they ain't never been back. It's only one people.
What I always wonder, man, like when I see little children that's so innocent, and it seems like, man, the moment like you see the moment Edomites get into high school, they get into all that dark stuff. You ever see that stuff?
Say it again.
I always wonder why they get into all that dark witching stuff.
Oh,
when
yeah.
they get into high school, they start wearing all black and all that stuff, man. Like, why do they do that?
It's like normal to them, huh?
Yeah. Remember I was telling you about that one Edomite that killed that dude's whole family?
Yeah.
Like, this dude's 20 years old. Why you letting a 20-year-old guy come over to your to see your 16-year-old daughter, to take her to a rave death metal concert, and you let him spend the weekend over there? And this dude's 20 years old, right? I mean, like, nah, man. But This dude ends up murdering their whole family, you know? And you know, the dude was the disgusting being, man. I don't even want to say human being. He's a disgusting being because this guy murdered that family and didn't even clean himself up. They said when they brought him in, he had been around the rotten corpses for over 5 days. They said his clothes was caked in gore. You know what type of individual is that? And I seen it too. You know, being in the military, man, they had to throw this one guy in the shower, man. The dude would not wash up, man. Like they opened his locker and everything. He had all kinds of petrified socks in there, man. Like what
Socks walking around and just kicking the locker, talking about let me out.
You're standing dude socks up against the wall, man. Come on, man. How your socks sound like? How it sound like when your socks fall? It sound like wood hitting the ground. Like all kind of gnats and petrified socks flying out his locker. I'm like, yo, this dude's disgusting. You know
Petrified and putrefied.
They had to snatch him out of his rack and put him and throw him in the shower. He fought too. No.
Like, man, what are you avoiding?
God, they put water on him or something.
Oh God.
What are you
avoiding amongst these people, man? Mm-hmm. We used to have these coveralls we used to wear, right? Now you supposed to, I mean, any normal human being knows, like you working somewhere, you sweating, right? You should be washing your clothes on the daily, man. Yo, this guy, man, oh my God, this dude was wearing these coveralls for so long, man. You can see like the salt deposits in it from when he had been sweating. You know what I mean? Like, man, I had to mess with him. I'm like, man, why don't you change your clothes, man? I'm like, man, your coveralls look spicy as hell right now, man. You got all this salt in your coveralls, my dude, man. Come on, man. Why don't you clean your clothes, bro? Spicy coveralls.
Get in the pool and make some gravy, man.
Get in the pool, man. Make some gravy, indeed, man. They do wear the clothes for so long, you probably can't even wash them no more. It probably the filth probably ate all the kind up on it. I mean, wash it be nothing but threading left.
And whatever kind of filth he got that eat, that's some filth.
But this is the type of stuff you experience, like seeing these people. When you see them on TV, it's like they always portray themselves to be the cleanest and all of that stuff, man. Yeah, you walk up in their house in real life, man. It's roaches, man. It's roaches everywhere, man. It's just real grotesque.
Man, you know,
a lot of grotesque things going on.
You know how you hear a lot of them say, you know, we poor too, and that's true. I realize that, you know, what it is that a lot of them know little loopholes, you know, on how to get things and obtain things that we don't know. And so now you starting to see the internet flooded with knowledge of how to do this and put this in the LLC, and you don't have to worry about this, and the government will give you this and this. And what they always say, this is the secret they've been holding the whole time. You know, you go and ask, you know, for some change. It's like, oh, I don't have any money, you know. And some of them, a lot of them don't.
Yeah, a lot of them don't, man. They don't.
You know.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the way they portray them, like so living here and living amongst them, you experience some things and you'll find out the truth. But for what they broadcast out to the world, man, what they broadcast out to the world is like, you know what I mean, the standard bearers of morality, clean, goodness, white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what they broadcast out to the world. But then you know what I mean? You come amongst them, you like, yo, dog, yo, Chad, man, take a shout. You and Biff. You having all kinds of crazy Chad and Biff.
So, let me turn my mic. Biff. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, God. I'm dying.
Oh, man.
Too in tune with nature, man.
Too much. Hey, man.
But
hey, man, you know, not that they expense anything, man, but I mean, Israel, man, we need to start realizing that we are supposed to be the standard bearers of morality, and for a most part we have been very forgiving, we have been very tolerable, you know, but our reasons for doing that is out of line. We should be doing it because the Most High said to treat people a certain way if they treat you a certain way, you know, and we shouldn't be doing anything out of fear, you know. But for sure, we definitely got to start doing that amongst each other. The same type of way we treat them, you know, treat our brothers, you know.
Actually, we better.
Yeah, better. Most High said don't withhold good from people if they ask you. You know, if I'm driving and I see one of them on the road, depending on, you know, what they look like they might use my money for, I help them.
I had help one today.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's what the Most High call us to do. You know what I mean? To be charitable, you know. But if it's him out there and I see my brother out there, I'm gonna help my brother first.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
In his face.
Yeah, right in his face.
I gotta help him, man. He's my brother.
You know?
Sorry, brother. I ain't got enough for you, man. If I did, I would, but I can't.
Yeah.
No. That's, you know, that's what we got to get to, you know. I think, you know, like I said, we can't use the Bible to try to justify things, you know what I mean, that it's not saying, you know what I mean. We covered a couple of things tonight. We covered Cornelius. You know, I didn't really want to play too much of that video. I just wanted to cover that first point dealing with the Jews and the Roman army. And like I said, that leads me to my conclusion concerning Cornelius and him being a Israelite. And I'm gonna use that as a general term, but just based on the history of the migration of the Jews and how they were able to elevate, and then even an example in the brother Tiberius Julius Alexander, who was an Alexandrian Jew, a Jew from Egypt, and seeing how he was able to rise and how he was connected, how his family were Jews. I'm now convinced that Cornelius was a Jew. And just like you had Jews who were born in these regions and you had Jews who migrated to these different regions, you know, and it said concerning Tiberius that he didn't grow up under his own customs, that his father taught him the classics. And so he was kind of sophisticated, quote unquote, as we would put it, you know, one of those type of brothers. But he was destined to be in that role. And so he was wealthy, you know, and including his position, you know, what he was able to accumulate from that gave him a lot of wealth. And that would make us understand why Cornelius was able to give alms to the poor and he actually built them a synagogue, it said, because it said he loved our nation, you know. He loved our nation. You know, what is a nation? You know.
And at that time, we weren't a nation.
So he loved our nation. He built a synagogue and gave alms to our people. He prayed to the Most High always. You know?
Yeah. You know what? After you read that article on Tiberius, yeah, that convinced me also. Because I was blown away by that one, because I didn't even know. And I was like, whoa.
You know, you'd be surprised, man. You got to archive this, and I got to go back and watch it, because it's so much information that compels me to saying that Cornelius was an Israelite. You know, that's going to be one whole lesson in itself. You know what I mean? There's so much information. You know, that's going to be the nail in the coffin, though. That's going to be the nail in the coffin of supersessionism. You know,
and it's just like I said, you know, when you're reading a document that was written for people, once you start to understand it, you can read it from a standpoint of practical application. Because you know it's written for a certain people and to a certain people. And it's sort of following the line of the course of history. You know, our people who were born outside of the region, or people who were born in these other countries outside of Israel and Judea, they were considered Gentiles. You know, if you were a Jew born in Jerusalem, then you were pretty much, how the Bible puts it, of the circumcision. But watch this real quick. I want to show you something. And then we're going to close out here shortly. But where is that? Okay. Watch this, bro. Hold up. Watch this. Hold on. And which one is it? Okay. History. All right, now watch this. All right, I'm reading this section right here. This is a history of Jews in the Roman Empire. The diaspora. All right, I'm reading a section called the diaspora. It says the Jewish diaspora or exile is the dispersion of Israelites or Jews out of their ancestral homeland and their subsequent settlement in other parts of the globe. All right. Many Jews became citizens of other parts of the Roman Empire. All right. This is a map of the Roman Empire. Roman Empire was a post-Republican period of ancient Rome. As a polity, it included large territorial holdings around the Mediterranean Sea in Europe. Mediterranean Sea in Europe, Northern Africa, Western Asia, ruled by emperors from the accession of Caesar Augustus to the military anarchy of the 3rd century. All right. Many Jews became citizens of other parts of the Roman Empire. The book of Acts in the New Testament, as well as other Pauline texts, make frequent references to the large population of Hellenized Jews in the cities of Rome in the cities of the Roman world. The policy towards proselytization and conversion of Judaism, which spread the Jewish religion throughout Hellenistic civilizations, seem to have ended with the wars against the Romans and following reconstruction of Jewish values for the post-temple era. So that's pretty much when the time of the gospel started to go out about Mashiach. That's really where the real threat came in with the Romans. That, and then once they rose up and started to rebel, that's what fulfilled the what Mashiach was talking about. But after he sent the apostles out and preached the gospel, that's when the things started to sort of turn, and people who were converting over, to faith in Mashiach were being persecuted as a result of that. But prior to that, they were just living their cultures, and the Romans didn't really see that as a threat, because that really brought somewhat of an order to Roman society. Like I said, that was all up to a certain point, but I just wanted to bring that out real quick, bro. Can y'all hear?
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
Yeah.
So just letting you know that all the letters, the New Testament writings, and the letters of Paul and the book of Acts and everything is dealing with all of the Jews who were living in all those different regions. And we established that too when we read the history. So little by little, we just priming brothers and sisters up for the work that's coming out.
It's coming along quite nicely too. Yes. Man, I'm definitely liking what's going on with I can even show y'all a few things. Oh no, I can't show them. No, I can't show you guys. I shouldn't have said that. They're gonna get there. They're gonna get there when on you know.
Yeah. But that's gonna be the real nail in the coffin, you know.
Huh? Oh, I'm good, baby.
And once that
hold on.
Once that drop, you know, the plan is to go silent on the channel for a little while and let everybody, you know, sort of digest on that. But I may still be continuing some things on my channel during that time, but in any case, it's gonna be all about that, you know.
Indeed. It's quite a watch, man. So when you do get a chance to watch it, be prepared to really sit down and absorb the information, because it's packed with information, man. And it's packed with a lot of images, a lot of definitions, a lot of witnesses. You know, got a lot of good media in there to really stir things up. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think this is going to be one of my best works in regards to coming at Christianity, but what it's going to be like as a whole, it's going to be crazy, man. Because the next one we're going to do is just the history, and with the history, you got to go into the relationship between the southern and northern kingdom. You know, metaphors that was used to describe Israel. Prophecies that we have to keep in mind when we transitioning over into the New Testament, you know. So it's just a lot, you know. And even within the history, there's the divorce, the casting away of the Northern Kingdom. You know.
Yeah. It's like all of those things have to be considered. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because what's happening is really, in my view, going a step above a scholarly level. You know, the scholars have already did the work as far as certain information, but we know scholars leave things vague. And so what we can do a lot of times is take the information that they put out and put it in proper perspective and line it up with other things, you know. So this is definitely, you know, something we've been waiting on. Hope you brothers and sisters waiting on it. You know what I mean? And like I said, some people are already in agreement with the understanding. It's just, you know, this work is to really solidify it. You know, it's for all Israel, you know, so we can know who we need to be focusing on. You know, it's obvious and apparent that our lovers have forsaken us, right?
Yep.
We have no healing medicines.
None.
Those who we love and flirt around with, they don't love us, you know. If we're Native American and indigenous to this land, then we should have been able to get some of those reparations, you know.
Indeed, bro. Should have been able to get something out of it.
You know, you got crack reparations, you got LGBT reparations, you know. And at this point, it's just really, I heard somebody say, you know, maybe he trying to get rid of all the money for the judgment come, you know. But on that note, man, I think we can go ahead and shut it down. 3 hours in, you know, we can really go on and on with these topics. You know, like the brother said, there's a section dedicated to that. So I'm gonna leave that alone for now. I just wanted to touch on that and sort of give my perspective on why I felt like Cornelius is an Israelite, you know. Just based on the qualities and based on the history, you know, we see that Jews were able to elevate in the Roman army. They were able to have wealth, you know what I mean? And that was obvious because, you know, even when you look at when our people were taken or exiled out of Spain and Portugal, you know, they were even during that time among the wealthiest in Spain and Portugal. So they had to forfeit a lot of their wealth when they were exiled. They had to leave a lot of wealth behind. You know. So just something to think about, brothers and sisters, you know. If Cornelius is an example of how Gentiles can be saved, then we should see more examples of Cornelius. That should be the marker or the example for all the Gentiles. Indeed. He received the Holy Ghost and everything. He prayed, he fasted, you know, so all these people who doing all this praying and fasting, what revelation are you receiving for it? You know, is the angel showing up to you, leading you because of what you're doing? It said that Cornelius, what Cornelius did, it said it came before a memorial before the Most High. All his prayers, his fasting, his alms giving, his love for the people came up as a memorial for the Most High. So if he was a Gentile like that, then that's the example. Cornelius set the example for what all the Gentiles should be doing to invoke the Most High and to really receive the Holy Ghost.
Amen.
So no more I'm sorry's. I acknowledge what my people did. We all do. It's not in my place to say you forgive me. I'm not giving that authority or that autonomy to say, okay, you forgiven.
Right.
How have you reconciled?
How have you reconciled?
You know? Now I realize that it's only so much that certain of them can do. You know? And that's why I say that's in the Most High's jurisdiction to determine who's sincere and who's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing with them is they can exert political pressure and demand, but what the politicians do is every time they bring up this reparations, that's the one thing they fail to do. They start talking about, well, I didn't do this, and my father, and it wasn't my age, and we never owned a slave. But just from your confession, from your mouth, you're saying we don't want to give you anything. Even if we had, we feel no responsibility to what happened to you. We bear no responsibility. So even that has, even that, they can't even use that.
You know, he said, you got a lot of people who get high off of that, these apologies and everything. And my thing, like I said, only the Most High can judge that person's sincerity. You have some of them who can't even acknowledge what happened, But even still, the Most High said, though hand join in hand, the wicked should not go unpunished. He said, this is the word after the signs have come, of which I have previously told to you. When the nations become confused and the time of my anointed one comes, he will call all nations. All right. There go your Joel 3 right there. He said, he will call all nations, and some of them he will spare, and some of them he will kill. Therefore, these things will befall the nations which will be spared. Every nation which has not known Israel and has not trodden down the seed of Jacob will indeed live. So he said, every nation that has not known Israel and has not trodden down the seed of Jacob will indeed live. So think about all the nations in Psalms 83. Psalms 83 conspiracy. Right? Every nation which has not known Israel and has not trodden down the seed of Jacob will indeed live. Why? This is because some of every nation will be subject to your people. All right. So for everybody who's sincere in their heart and remorseful about what happened to our people, this is what you're going to have to accept according to what's written. Now, we're not making this up. This is what's written. So if you're really sorry, then this is where you stand in verse 5. But all those who have ruled over you or have known you will be delivered up to the sword. So all the nations who ruled over us and conspired against us and knew who we were, he said they're going to be delivered up. Now we can precept this all day long with Joel 3, Isaiah 14, Jeremiah 12, Isaiah 60 and 61, you know, Jeremiah 30 and 31. How far you want to go with it? But if they really love you, this is what they'll accept.
Yep.
You know, even after being sorry, you know, I'm sorry don't always fix the problem. You know, it's good to acknowledge, but sometimes you still have left with a stain, you know.
True repentance comes with the effort to restore.
Yeah. So you can't look at our people and look at how downtrodden we are when your whole system is set up for that. Yeah, we got our part, you know. And the Most High dealt with that, but he said that they furthered our affliction. You know, how we treat each other as a people, what they got to do with you. You know, how does that give you a right to come in and think you can do something? You don't understand the hatred and the pressure that two black men have toward one another due to what they done been through and where they come from. But you will see that and you will judge that. Say, see, look at them. See, look how they treat each other. That's our business. But at the same time, it's their business too, because they benefit from it.
Mm-hmm. Big business.
Yeah. It's their business, but it's our affair. You know, they benefit from it, but we deal with the ramifications and the whatever detriment it leaves. That's our profit. But yeah, on that note, man, we can go ahead and close out. Y'all want to say something before we do?
Shalom and blessing, family. That's all I have to say. May the Most High bless you all and protect you.
Same, yeah, same here. Shalom and blessings. Hey, Mr. Wong, pick my cotton.
man. Mom. My grandfather used to say the most racist stuff ever, bro. My grandfather, Most High bless his soul, he can't even, like, you know how Chinese people name their children? Like, he said he'd tie forks and spoons to them and throw them down the steps.
Yeah, he is crazy. That's not racist. It's just ratio.
Oh, wow.
There's a difference.
I didn't tell you the rest of it. Then you go,
yeah, Ty know how they get down. He there.
Man, that's funny. That's that's definitely a racial thing.
Yeah.
But man, I'm gonna shut this down. I want to thank everybody for chiming in and fellowshipping with us tonight. I want to thank the brother Yash, Bunya.
No problem.
Tomorrow afternoon, 12, we'll be back with another fellowship. Hope to see you brothers and sisters then. Don't forget about Wednesdays, Kingdom Conversations, Brother Cleo. Don't forget about the Friday night prayer fellowship as well. And also the upcoming documentary, Supersessionism, putting a nail in the coffin to show who the Bible is really dealing with, you know, who salvation is for, who Mashiach came for, you know, who did Mashiach redeem when he came to lay his life down, you know, all these things to be dealt with. Who was Cornelius? Who are the Gentiles? You know, meaning nations. All these understandings to be dealt with. I'm actually excited about it, you know, honestly. I know the brother Bunya put in a lot of work, been through a lot of ups and downs, you know, but all grace to the Most High, all praise to the Most High, rather we at a point where now we get to sit down and really kick back, you know,
indeed,
and take some of this stuff in, you know. But I want to thank you brothers once again. I want to thank the family once again for fellowshipping with us. Most High willing, I see you brothers tomorrow, 12 noon. All right. Shalom and blessings.
Shalom and blessings.
Shalom. Shalom.
Hey, stick around for 1 sec. I just want to show you a couple of clips.
Yep.
Okay, cool.